Hey guys, welcome to Wisdom for Wealth with Wisdom Ezekiel. It's a great pleasure to have you here, and for many of you listening to me right now, I really want to appreciate you for following this channel and giving us all the support that we need. And one of the things we want to be able to do with this channel is to be able to give value to everyone who is following us. So I'm welcoming you to this particular episode, and this episode is titled, Who Took My Money? Who took my money? I don't know if you have ever experienced this, where you get to a point where you are looking for the money that you've earned and you can't find it. And sometimes you begin to ask yourself, who took my money? And you begin to look at it from different dimensions. You begin to analyze different things, and you want to search for who took your money. Well, I've been able to do a little research and a little breakdown of who took your money. Your money was not missing. If it was stolen, that's another case entirely. But if it wasn't stolen, then this number of people that I want to mention may have taken your money. So you want to know who took your money? Please stay tuned as we begin to ride through this entire series. Number one, who took my money? Bills took your money. Somebody say bills, 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 bills. We live in a world of bills where you can't survive without paying bills. And there are many, loads of people out there who are practically working for bills. The reason why you're working is for you to pay bill. And I think that that's one very critical aspect of life that we must begin to look at, how we can adjust ourselves to be able to keep up with what is ahead of us. So bills took your money, your phone bills, your water bill, your electricity bill, your gas bill, different kind of bills that you pay. They took your money. And one thing that you must begin to look at is, how do I reduce my bills? Because many people are caught up in the web of paying bills. And if you are caught up in the web of paying bills, it's more like a rat race that never, comes to an end. And you must become that person who begin to monitor your bills, who begin to look at the things you spend money on and ensure that you only spend money on necessary bills. Because sometimes there might be unnecessary bills, and sometimes there might also be poor management of bills where you are not able to manage your bills. For instance, if you live in some places in the world, it's advisable that you manage your bills, especially because many of those bills are more expensive during peak period. So if you live in places like the US or Canada or thereabout, you notice that during peak period, the cost of electricity is very high, and during off-peak period, the cost of electricity is much more lower. You want to begin to look at, how do you control it? What are the things you must do? What are the things you must put off? Is your house controllable from everywhere? And sometimes it's good for you to begin to invest in things that can help you, reduce your bills. Things like putting some kind of technology where you can put off your appliances from anywhere in the world. Things like that right now exist with different kind of technology that has been put in place. So you want to begin to look at, how will you be able to put off your electricity or put off any appliances wherever you are in the world, and all of that. So you also want to look at, if you are not in some very developed community, you must begin to look at alternative energy. And even people who are in very developed environments, you must begin to look at alternative energy. One of the major bills that you pay that you can never run away from and you can't live without is electricity bill. So you want to begin to look at, how do you invest in solar energy? How do you invest in inverters? How do you look at other forms of energy that can help you reduce the bills that you pay when it comes to energy consumption, because these are things you do regularly. On your phone bill, you want to look at the necessity. Some people have very high cost of phone bills, where you don't necessarily need as much, because in most houses you find internet in your house, you find internet in your place of work, and in most common places or public places, you also find internet there. So sometimes you begin to wonder, do you need the 20 gig of data that have made your phone bill much more expensive? Sometimes you begin to ask yourself, do you need that particular feature that has been introduced to you by your phone company that may not necessarily be in use? I remember when we wanted to get our internet, here most times they want to market extra things to you, ask you to add some add-ons and all of that those add-ons will reduce the price of the things you are asking for. In most cases, it doesn't. So you may need to call your internet provider or call your phone company and begin to let them know that, see, I do not need all this add-on. The things I need are basic, and I am okay with the basic. If those add-ons are not being used, so why are you paying for it? So it is wisdom for you to begin to cut off from things that are not necessarily in your life, so that you can free up funds for other things. I remember when we packed in to our house in Canada, the internet that I use, when I called them, they provided the internet, but later on they told me if I added TV, it will reduce the cost. If I added home phone, it will reduce the cost. If I added a number of features, and I added many of those features, it took my internet bill to a very high amount, and at a particular time I had to tell myself the truth, because all through, we don't use the home phone. We have never used the TV, and I'm wondering, why am I paying for what I am not using? So these are some of the things that you may be looking at. How do I adjust? Call the internet company, call the bills provider, and let them know that some of the extra features that they have given you, that you cannot keep up with it. And one thing I've come to realize about most of these guys is, when you call them and let them know you have another competitor who is willing to give you something cheaper, they are most likely going to see what they can do to reduce your costs. These are things I have tried and it works. So if you want to look at who took your money, bills took your money. Phone bills, gas bills. You want to also look at, how do you reduce the gas consumption? How do you reduce water consumption? Recently we had to go and buy a particular gadget that helps us cook with lower energy consumption, and yet it cooks faster. There are many things that have been done like that you can begin to now look at how you can take advantage of that. So how do you reduce those costs? Sit down, think through many of those costs. I highlight the cost one after the other. Some of you might need to do the cost analysis one after the other. Take all the bills that you pay on a regular basis and begin to do a critical analysis on them and see how you can cut down. Because the more you cut down, the more you are able to free up funds for better things that require funds for you to be able to run.